feel, not that you're gonna get blown out like this 2 straight games, but like that it was gonna be rough early?
Um, no, I didn't have this feeling that it would be like this. You know, it's gonna be the same, but I didn't think we'd be getting our ass kicked like this.
People's kid, how we doing? It's your boy Kobe back at it again with another video, and as always, hope you guys are having a blessed day. Man, a lot of stuff going on in the NBA right now, and a lot to talk about. I really don't even know where to start. From LeBron still looking like LeBron, the Knicks still looking like the Knicks, and several players coming out of nowhere to help their team, the interesting narratives of the league have taken form and is definitely one of the more exciting times in NBA history. But with so much to discuss on the topic on who is the best team in the NBA, it's also important to note the team that it is not. After 5 consecutive NBA Finals appearances and 3 NBA titles, the Golden State Warriors are shockingly looking like one of the worst teams in the league. Granted, news that Steph Curry being out for 3 months plays a part in their demise, but the reality is they were in trouble even with their star player healthy. Simply put, the roster output is nowhere near where they need to contend in the Western Conference. In particular, the one player who I believe is being completely exposed at this point is none other than Warriors forward Draymond Green. And in this video, I'll go ahead and explain exactly as to why, starting from the beginning. Quick side note, per usual, if you guys enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. And with that said, let's hop right into it. Opportunity, a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. While this might be the official definition of the word, in reality, the real definition of opportunity is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do anything. Because if you really think about it, without the opportunity to accomplish, there is nothing in this world that can be executed or completed. Of course, although this applies to a spectrum far bigger than the world of sports, when we hone in on this narrow field, it is easy to see opportunities for some are not granted in the same way they are for others. While a top prospect or heralded top talent may get a few extra chances to perform due to their high upside, the truth is most really only get one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted. One moment. Would you capture it or just let it slip?
Stay out.
All jokes aside, for some of the world's greatest athletes, they were able to turn that one opportunity into Hall of Fame careers that rival the best of anyone in their sport. With respect to the Warriors forward Draymond Green, there are perhaps no better examples of a player who took his chance and wrote it all the way to the history books. Growing up in Saginaw, Michigan, Green was actually rated a 4-star player coming out of high school and went on to play for Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans for his college career. Known as a multi-versatile player that could do a little bit of everything, Green topped off his amateur career in 2012 by being named Big Ten Player of the Year, averaging 16.2 points, 10.6 rebounds, and 3.8 assists per contest in his senior season. But even though Green proved he's one of the best college players in the country, the jury was still out on whether he could handle the size and athleticism in the NBA. All incredibly fair questions, considering Draymond was essentially a 6'6" college center who just shot 44% from the field. And as a middling athlete with limited explosiveness shown on tape, Draymond's draft stock stabilized around the late first and early second round. Credit to Green though, one thing that he carried throughout his career is his unwavering confidence, and it showed even as a prospect during his NBA draft combine interviews.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Just on the NBA team, hopefully with a couple world championships under my belt and just keep on improving as an NBA player.
But even with a player as competitive as Draymond, someone who would remember the names of every prospect drafted ahead of him,
10 was Austin Rivers.
the truth is he needed to go to a team that would actively work to maximize his strengths and minimize his weaknesses. In other words, for his NBA career to thrive, an organization would need to put serious investment into his development, unlike what is usual for a non-lottery type draft pick. And as you guys already know, that is exactly what happened as Mark Jackson and the Golden State Warriors opted to draft Green with the 35th pick in the 2012 NBA draft. Although Draymond didn't play too many minutes his rookie year, Jackson highly valued Green's winning pedigree and encouraged him to take an active leadership role on the team from day one. Even with long-standing veterans on the team who had a much higher standing in the NBA than Draymond at the time, Green earned the respect of his teammates very quickly for his locker room presence and basketball IQ. On the court, Green's hustle and motor was the pathway to minutes he needed, despite still having a tweener problem against most of the teams he faced. He couldn't shoot, he couldn't score, and wasn't exactly a plus defender against quicker, more explosive small forwards. But if you guys remember, with opportunity also comes the game of luck and chance. By the end of the 2013-2014 season, the incredible chemistry Draymond shared with his teammates Steph Curry and Klay Thompson could not be ignored, and his ability to be the Warriors' glue guy was on full display in the 2014 Western Conference playoffs. In Game 7 against the Clippers, Green scored 24 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks, creating an interesting problem for new head coach Steve Kerr the following season. Because if you recall at the time, former All-Star David Lee was the unquestioned starting power forward and averaged 18.2 points and 9.3 rebounds in 2014. Yet with the popularity of analytics and opting to center the Warriors' offense around their best three-point shooters Klay and Steph, Lee's back-to-the-basket game was no longer ideal for what they tried to accomplish. In addition, defensively, Draymond's basketball IQ and excellent team defense fundamentals was incredibly complementary of their defensive philosophy. And when you combine these external factors along with Draymond's intangibles and high effort, you get the birth of the manufactured NBA star that is Draymond Green. In the 2014-2015 season, the Warriors went with Draymond as their starter and never looked back, brilliantly capturing his strengths, and he shortly became one of the best defenders in the NBA. On offense, Green greatly improved thanks to the MVP play of Steph Curry, who essentially provided Draymond an unbelievable amount of space in pick-and-roll situations, often being 4-on-3 opportunities for Golden State. And after taking down the Cavs in the 2015 NBA Finals as their ultimate glue guy, Draymond got paid handsomely in the offseason and was a key part of the Golden State's 2 titles over the next 3 years. So alas, I provide you all that background to explain this next point. If we fast forward present day, the success of Golden State has raised Draymond's profile to the same heights of some of the NBA's biggest stars. Beyond just the profile, Draymond's rank from media outlets among NBA players had ballooned to one of the game's best in the world, ahead of bona fide franchise guys like Kyrie Irving and John Wall. But while I have great respect for Draymond and the way he established himself in the NBA, I must say I always knew in the back of my head, if the Warriors' core group of guys were ever to disintegrate, Green would be exposed for his limited capacity to create value in a different role if asked to do so. And on cue, with the departure of Kevin Durant this offseason and the injury of Klay Thompson, and now the injury of Steph Curry, Draymond Green has looked lost early in the season. Without further ado, here are the 3 biggest reasons as to why Draymond Green is being exposed currently in the NBA. Number 3. He is an incredibly limited offensive player that cannot create consistent scoring opportunities for himself. Starting with the obvious that I think even the most basic NBA observers can understand, Draymond Green is currently caught in a position where the Warriors are in desperate need of offense, and he simply cannot provide it. Through the first 5 games of the season, Draymond was averaging a paltry 9.4 points a game on 42% from the field. Although he is technically scoring at a rate higher than he did last year, the circumstances are entirely different, as his production was rarely required for a team that scored the second most points in the league the season prior. And even in plus scoring situations for Green this year, you can see he is just not a great one-on-one player, and simple misses on layups or floaters are very common for him. Unlike a true NBA All-Star like say a Chris Bosh who takes a backseat to the other scorers on his championship team but can turn it on when needed, Draymond is only as effective as the players around him that let him thrive. In addition, another development that isn't discussed nearly enough is the clear regression in Draymond's three-point shooting ability. From his career year in 2016 when he shot 39% from the three-point line and a career-high 14 points per game, Green's three-point efficiency has dropped significantly down to 30% from the field, and his lack of confidence is evident whenever he passes on taking a wide-open shot. As a result, opposing defenses will continue to disrespect Draymond as his ability to stretch the floor has pretty much collapsed. In my opinion, a top 15 or top 20 NBA player, as some conclude Draymond to be, should have the capability to put the ball in the basket at a much better clip than he provides. To be blunt, with Curry out for the next 3 months, the fact that Golden State are feeding players like Eric Pascal and Glenn Robinson II when they have a $25 million a year player that routinely finishes games in the single digits is embarrassing, and Draymond needs to get more aggressive immediately. Number 2, the secret decline of his defense is now on full display. In an ironic twist, for all the offensive firepower the Warriors are currently missing as opposed to last year, the truth is their defense is actually significantly worse after the first 2 weeks of the season. I mean, if it wasn't for that absolute shootout against the Rockets and Wizards, the Warriors quite possibly might have put out the worst effort on defense in the entire NBA so far. While I won't single out Draymond for being any particularly worse than his teammates, I will call out a clear reality of Green's reputation as one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Although the 3-time first-team All-Defensive Player and the 2017 Defensive Player of the Year was the heart and soul behind those excellent Warrior defenses, a large majority of Green's defensive effectiveness was a result of great team chemistry and team defensive principles that allowed Draymond to play his best game. Credit to Green, his top-notch defensive fundamentals and basketball IQ made him a nightmare for opponents both on ball and as a help defender. Yet if we take a quick look into Draymond's impact on defense by the year, you'll see that the numbers show he's actually become a weaker and weaker defender as the years have passed. Since the Warriors' historic 73-9 season, Draymond Green's defensive rating went from 99.9 in 2016-2017 to 105 the following year to 106.5 in the 2018-2019 season, all the way to 120.9 to start this season. Now, after a historic year like they had in 2016, a slight come down to earth makes sense, but it's hard not to say the trend isn't a bit worrisome. It's not to say Green is no longer a good defender. On the contrary, his versatility would still be a great addition to any NBA contender. However, if we're being honest, it might just indicate Draymond's best days on defense were a function of the supporting cast. And if those days are indeed behind him, when you consider how limited he is on offense, you have a player that all of a sudden no longer looks like a worthy option to play 35 minutes a game. Yikes. Number 1. Bad habits that picked up the previous years are hard to crack. Perhaps one of the greatest benefits of playing on a super team is the reassurance that you don't individually have to play your absolute best to defeat your opponent. I mean, guys, it is hard to count how many times a big Durant night, or a big Curry night, or even a big Clay night allowed the Warriors to simply show up and win games based off their overwhelming talent. As a result, despite their greatness, it was not uncommon for Golden State to lose focus for periods throughout the game and actually go down big in the first half, or maybe even the early second half. But due to their juggernaut offense and suffocating defense when needed, this was rarely a problem as the team was able to make a routine comeback without much concern. In short, these stretches of lack of focus by the Warriors was simply a result of minimal effort and sloppy play leading to unforced turnovers. Just like these previous years, Golden State's slip in focus this year remains, but unlike these previous years, the talent did not. Thus, instead of tacking away at early deficits against the Thunder and Phoenix Suns these past couple of weeks, the opposite occurs and they are getting blown out. For all the praise of Draymond Green's energy and motor, he is unquestionably guilty when it comes to not playing with effort from the tip. Again, for his boisterous talk and swagger, a talent-deficient player like Draymond cannot afford to give minimal energy when that is literally his saving grace to providing value when he's on the court. Too many times already, I've counted moments where Green is either jogging back, not fighting for 50-50 balls like he used to, or just playing sloppy basketball. I'm not saying he's playing like this 100% of the time, but the lapses in focus is something that has become painfully obvious during this brutal stretch of annihilation. If Draymond has any chance of living up to his major contract extension, he needs to shake everyone up in the locker room and remind them they are the underdogs again and need to start playing like it for every possession. The real question is, can he still play with the same hustle of the 24-25-year-old Draymond Green looking to make a name for himself? Or is he content with the titles, money, and clout he has already gained? In my opinion, the jury's out on that one. The one thing I do know for sure though, is for the reasons I mentioned, he is currently being exposed in the NBA. Now it's time to see how much pride he really has. Anyways guys, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Had to make the video on this topic because I think it's currently the most interesting development so far in the league. By the way, quick side note, Draymond probably saved himself at least $50 million by signing his extension now instead of waiting for free agency next year, because it's hard to make the case he's worth $100 million at his current output. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree, think I'm completely wrong? Comment your thoughts below. With that said, hope you guys have a great rest of the day or night or whatever time it is. I'll be back at it soon. Peace out.